السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد، هل تريد أن تتكلم باللغة العربية الفصحى؟ لا تقلق، سنتكلم الآن بطريقة سهلة بالتكلم اللغة العربية. نعم، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. And اسمي كاشف, and today we are going to speak about how to speak in Arabic. Many people, they keep asking me this question, and I keep getting this question. Will I be able to learn how to speak Arabic language in the beginning stages? And it's a very common question. It'll be difficult in the beginning stages because you need an environment of Arabic language. You need to practice a lot. So that's what we'll talk about today, inshallah. I would say don't focus too much on speaking itself in the beginning stages, because you should remember that to learn a language, there are four parts of it. The first part is reading. So you should be able to read the text. The second is writing. You should be able to write through your own composition. And the third is listening, and the fourth is speaking. And the most easiest to learn for any language is reading. Now, reading, and then I believe, it's my analysis, then I believe listening comes to you. Right? Listening comes to you. Listening becomes easier once you read and gather a lot of vocab. Then the third is writing your own essay. And the fourth is speaking. Why do you want to begin and totally focus on speaking when you should understand that is the most difficult thing to do? In India, we have madaris here. People study for 8 years of Arabic, and if you were to ask them that, are you able to speak Arabic after studying for so many years? And I would say many of them, from what I've seen, the madaris here, they won't speak in Arabic. I mean, they might be able to speak, but they'll be very uncomfortable speaking in Arabic. Allahu A'lam. Forget Arabic. When it comes to English, how many of Indians can speak English? Although they study, I mean, I don't know about other states, but in our state, it's a very difficult thing to, to speak English. And we have courses here which only teach spoken English, so that you can prepare for an interview and stuff. So it is difficult. One person can have a talent, and he can study on his own, and he can really get a good grip on the language of speaking. But most of us find it difficult. You understand that speaking is the hardest. It's not something which is impossible. It's not something which is impossible. Inshallah, we can learn the speaking also, inshallah ta'ala. If you do want to speak to natives, then you have to learn a dialect anyways. Hardly anyone speaks Fusha except in scholars and so on. They speak classical Arabic. Yeah, you can learn MSA also, but the vocabs and stuff are a little different. Although most of it is similar, the modern standard Arabic. So you have to learn a dialect then. So go and learn dialect if you want to learn just how to speak in a country. Our channel is focused on Fusha because it's easier to study and learn. What I would suggest is rectify our intentions, because many times people want to speak for showing off. I'm able to speak in اللغة العربية. No, our goal should be, as Muslims, as طلاب العلم, to focus تفهم القرآن والسنة, to understand القرآن والسنة. That should be our goal. And speaking is a thamara, is a fruit which comes with time, inshallah ta'ala, with practice. Another is know your goal. Do you want to understand the media Arabic? So you should know your goal on what do you want to speak about. Don't make it general. Oh, I want to learn to speak Arabic. But I'll ask you, where? In which situation? In which place? Like, if you want to go to a restaurant, something like this. Ma'am, if you want to go to a restaurant, then you try to learn, be specific. Be specific and know your goal. Like, you go to a restaurant and what do you want to order? Assalamu alaikum, uridu biryani, uridu aruzan, things like that. You try to you try to learn in a coffee setting, or you want to go to the airport. So you go to the airport and ask staff, right? هذه تذكرتي، هذه تأشيرة دخول، هذه بطاقتي، أو هذا جواز سفري. Well, لمثل هذا, something like this, and you try to learn whatever is there in that situation. So that goal is important. Arabia Bain Yadayk helps you in these situations where they have specific dialogues for the airport and the restaurant and stuff, and you repeat them and memorize. It will help you to know specifically what you want to say, and there'll be less of a gap, because everyone who speak a new language, there'll be a gap. right? لا أعرف كيف أقول باللغة العربية. Because you are translating. You should be reach at a stage in your learning language is where you are speaking without translating. That's what we say when you're learning English also. You always keep translating from your native language to English. It'll be difficult, and you have to work with your active memory a lot. But you read so much. You read, the adab. You read the share, and you read a lot of stories and stuff, so that you build up your vocab. You'll get it fun in the language. Slowly, it takes years of times, of course. Also, focus on basic sentences. Don't focus on, making big statements or something like philosophically complex statements. Now, don't focus so much on those. Right? Start simple, like in درس اللغة العربية. You learn how to point things out. هذا كتاب, هذا مكتب. Then you learn ذلك كتاب. Then you add adjective. هذا كتاب جديد. Then you learn, for instance, الذي. Right? هذا الكتاب الذي وضع على المكتب للمدرس. You build with that. Then you learn أريد or something like that. أريد, I want. Right? تريد, هل تريد شيئا? Right? Do you want tea? And something like that. You build up like that. You build up, and you should be able to build up like that. This is what is important, that you start simple and don't make philosophical complex statements like the government is planning to start a scheme for the unemployed youth in the country. What we have to speak about is memorize the Qur'an. Now, memorizing the Qur'an, many of the scholars used to say that you are able to speak because you understand the ta'birat, you understand the vocabulary, you understand the construction of the sentences by the memorization of Qur'an, and as well as other texts, because you can easily bring them when you need. Like, you want to say every person will die, you can say kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut. The memorization of the Qur'an also helps you in speaking Arabic. Next thing is practice a lot, mumarasati, and there are various ways in practicing. One, you can find a friend. So there are several apps for practicing. Like, I've never used them because I've never focused so much on speaking, but you can record yourself. You can record yourself when you want to speak. If you don't have a friend, then record yourself in a video or an audio. And I will share with one of the students from Darjeeling, India, who sends me audios of his speech. Although there might be mistakes in speech, but he's a student, alhamdulillah, and he keeps trying. He's like passionate to learn to speak Arabic. So he writes his own speech. You can hear to it, inshallah, and get an idea that how a student who's learning an Arabic, how he sounds like and how his Arabic is.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا يا طلاب وشباب وإخوان المسلمين، كيف حالكم وأموركم؟ لعل كل شيء بخير وعافية. أنا أيضا بخير وعافية برحمة الله. مرة أخرى أنا أمامكم، وهذا الصباح أريد أن أدرس عن الموضوع المهم جدا، ذلك نظام الحياة على الأرض. هل أنتم جاهزون؟ هيا نبدأ يا طلاب والشباب. أبدأ كلامي بآية الله، حيث الله رب العزة يقول: سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى. يعني الله سبحانه وتعالى خلق كل شيء على الأرض، بعد ذلك سخر كل شيء في خدمة الإنسان.
Listen to a lot of videos, and there are several channels, right? There are several channels which we can try out where there's a lot of listening. Like, there's this channel which has, you know, these cartoons which play all the time, and they have the stories. So there's this channel called Qur'ani Jannati, and you can see, you know, a lot of videos like this, various stories and very interesting stories many times, and they don't have music because the person is only able to speak the more he listens, to the language, right? The more you listen, and this is what, you know, something which is not focused a lot on in the schools and madaris, and it is not given a lot of focus. So we should give a lot of focus on listening to the language again and again and again. And there were scholars also you can listen who speaks very simple Arabic, and you can learn through those scholars also. Like the scholarly subtitles, there's a YouTube channel, and there are several YouTube channels. To travel also to a country, to an Arab country, that is also good. I mean, you can pick up the language easier. But try to speak, if you want to speak Fusha, speak with scholars, Tullab al-Ilm. Next is, don't be ashamed in making mistakes. We all make mistakes, especially in conjugation, especially we might use a present tense verb with a past tense verb. Don't be ashamed of it. Don't be ashamed in making mistakes. We all make mistakes. كلنا طلاب باللغة العربية. We all are students of Arabic language, and you should not be ashamed. These are all the tips which you can, all the ways you can learn to speak Arabic language. But again, as I said, do not fret over it. Do not be obsessed with it. Do not make it an obsession to try to speak and learning to speak in language in the beginning, because it's the most difficult, as we've talked about. Don't look at the talented people and say, oh, he's able to speak Arabic, because it's sometimes Allah gives a person easier and he is able to enjoy the fruits in the beginning. Inshallah, it will come with time. Do dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, have correct intentions, and we will be able to speak the language, inshallah ta'ala, and try to understand it, inshallah ta'ala. So this is, if you don't have a friend, you can contact me and we can set up a time, inshallah, if it's possible, when I make a video like this on Zoom or something, where we try to speak in Arabic, where we tell your journey, or rihlatuk, or safaruk fi dirasat al-lughat al-arabiyya, your journey in learning Arabic language, and anything, and we can try to speak in Arabic language so that others can see our mistakes. Now, let's make mistakes together. Because I'm also a student, because I never had a university experience or an Arab country experience and so on. I just sat at home and learned, right? We just sat at home and we learned Arabic, and I didn't have any friend. I didn't focus much on speaking because being an introvert, I didn't speak. But alhamdulillah, you might have reasons to learn to speak or whatever. Please let me know any other tips which you find beneficial in learning to speak Arabic, because everyone wants that. Yeah, inside our hearts, we all want to speak Arabic without making mistakes and without being ashamed. Now, and nothing's wrong with that, but it'll come, inshallah. Like vocabulary, again, like I said, vocabulary will come, speaking will also come, inshallah. Jazakallahu Khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.